in business development, in sales, in business, in management, you're working with people, and authentic human connection is always going to be the most valuable skill when you work with people. How do you build rapport? How do you build trust? How do you communicate with people in ways that actually resonates with them, that they are going to take seriously? Because it doesn't matter if they don't take what your recommendation seriously. People can listen to me and you all day long, but if they don't actually take action, nothing will happen. I think the ability that people have to build trust, to build connection, to build reputation helps other people take action and make a difference, right? So I think, like I said, you can have all the lessons in the world. Self-help books are a great example of this. We can have all the information at our fingertips. I spent years driving and listening to self-help books. None of it mattered if I never took action on it. And so I think the ability that people have is the ability to educate and inspire and encourage people to take action. And that's a very human trait.
I think you're right. I also think that there's a level of comfort. I know that the AI tries, it's usually,
it's empathetic.
Yeah, it tries to be very much a cheerleader, like, oh, that's a good idea,
Yeah, even if it's a bad one.
I know. Which maybe that's the benefit of going to a human is depending on the human you go to, they might be like, yeah, not sure about that.
Yeah.
Or you read it off their face.
People do more than ever because AI never tells them not to do it.
That's true. But I do think that there's still there's something about the comfort of knowing that a human is on the ride with you.
Yes.
That I don't think AI can actually replace.
Actually, it's funny that you said that. And me and Shelby were actually talking this morning. I was talking about the power of reputation and why reputation is actually a very big driver in honesty and telling the truth, right? And giving people good advice, right? Nobody wants to give bad advice or have negative repercussions come upon them, right? Like the reason so many people don't start podcasts like you and me and give information is they're afraid that maybe they won't give good information, or maybe people will call them out, or maybe they come across like they don't know what they're talking about. Whatever it is, there's a lot of fear involved, right? But a lot of it ties down to...
And you do, by the way.
Yes. It is what it is. You're out there talking. It's not always going to be perfect. But I think ultimately... it's reputation that makes humans so trustworthy, is that we care about our reputation so much that we are ultimately going to try to give the best advice, provide the best services, the best business all the time, because if we don't, it negatively impacts us. A computer doesn't have that. It has no care in the world whether or not it gave you bad information or not. And so I think that is going to factor in the future to why I think humans are still always going to have a competitive advantage.
That's an interesting thought. I've realized I grew up in a small town, and I won't name names, but there was somebody who was in a trade, and he was notoriously terrible at his job. Start at noon, be done at 2 at the bar, 2:30, and yet he did great because it's a small town, and if you need that trade, there aren't a lot of options. Whereas I think what you're talking about, it very much applies to the internet, because if we want people to be followers and follow our podcasts, then you do have a reputational issue where, they do have to see you as being reliable, because there's so many content creators out there. Yeah. And there's AI out there. And so, for us, it does matter. But it's interesting, I remember growing up and thinking in a small town, everybody knows everything about everyone. And so you would think that a reputation would really matter, but it doesn't if what you have to offer is not readily available.
Well, but one could also argue that if one person came to that town and could do it better, that guy was out of the job. So,
Yes.
so he did have a bad reputation. What you were telling me is that his
Yeah.
reputation was poor.
It
It
was.
literally takes one competitor to knock him off of his horse, right? And so, yes, like, I mean, you see this in oil and gas all the time. There might be a company that really isn't that great, but they don't have a lot of options. But the moment there is another option, which is why, like, when I was in business development and I would come up and people would say, we already have an inspection company, we're happy with them. And I would say, no problem. We're good with being number two, because eventually they're going to screw up. And when they screw up, we want to be there. And so I always kind of tell people, like, you got to be good. You got to show up. You got to do a good job at everything you do, because there's always that number two. I was that number two in a lot of situations, trying to get in and say, yep, absolutely. Keep with your incumbent. I'm happy you have them. The moment you're not happy with them, and for any reason, we'll be there. And
Yep.
there's always that person, right? There's always that person, no matter what you do.
Well, he was very lucky because apparently there was so much demand in the town for that trade that even when other people did come around.
Yeah, maybe there's those unique situations, but most of the time, if you're not good at what you do, you're not going to be at it very long.
Yeah. And, it's an interesting dynamic. Like, again, like growing up, I would have never thought that that was the case in a small town. I would have thought that the reputation mattered more. And it wasn't until I moved to, huge cities where like the reputation is the brand, right? Like
Yeah.
they could go anywhere. And the reason that they're going to you is because you have built a reputation where they feel like there's a degree of trust that they can put upon you without really knowing you.
Well, I think what's so interesting about what you do, especially in the management space, is that it's really not something that can be automated, right? Like, I can't really see any situation where management becomes an AI task.
It's
No.
again, like you can get advice,
Yeah.
but there's so much about being a human in management. I mean, that's what makes it actually really hard.
So hard. Yeah.
But that's probably a little bit of job security. I don't know. We'll see.
What do you see for the future? The future skills that are maybe most important for managers, right? Like, for instance, if all of the technical stuff can ultimately be trained via AI or can be taught via AI, what does management become?
So, I mean, management is still very much about power structures and people. And so, there's a heavy psychology backbone to management. Yeah. I mean, management also has, anthropology and a bunch of other fields, but there's definitely like a heavy psychology backbone to management in general, which is why a lot of the stuff that we actually talk about is applicable at home and work. Because,
yes.
It's all groups and there's actually a power structure even at the home. Just simpler. I think that that there will always be a need in terms of because of the people there'll always be a need there. There's always going to be a need for creating community. Yeah. There's always a need for creating connection. As long as humans are on one end of this thing, I think the AI basically, though, allows us to do the job that we're currently doing probably faster. Maybe it takes over certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
But there will still be quality control that we have to do.
Yes.
And, if everybody is using AI to tell them what to do and everybody's getting the same answer, then there's not any distinctiveness. And so I see that with AI that from a management perspective and a leadership perspective, which, they're related but not the same, you have to have somebody who is like iterative with the AI.
Yes.
And so it can help you get someplace faster, but you still have to know where you're going. You have to be able to create the vision. And maybe like you're talking to AI like you did with like your second podcast and it's helping you plan out, but you still had a vision.
To execute. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you still have to execute. And I don't care how brilliant you are, like things happen in the execution that you cannot see.
Yes.
And nothing happens on time.
No.
And
no.
and so all of that is still I think very human and driving driving the path forward, because
Yeah.
you have to be able to, like, again, like whether it's an individual or an organization, there has to be a distinctiveness about you, or else you don't stand out to anybody, and
I
and all the
yes.
barriers drop. So
Yes.
anybody, if it's just like any other business, right? Like if anybody can go and open up a Subway, I'm just gonna pick on them as an example, because historically I think that they haven't really given very good territories. Like, that's my understanding. I'm not an expert in Subway, but
Me neither.
like I think you could have a Subway franchise, at least historically, and then like across the street somebody else could open up a Subway franchise.
Sure.
And it was a relatively inexpensive chain to get into, which was attractive to people to like get starting.
Yeah.
And so Subway, as a result, is everywhere, but it's very hard to actually succeed in a Subway, because make good money at it. You're making like commodity level money at it,
Sure.
because anybody can do it.
Yes.
And so in some ways you need barriers, or you need to be different enough where it's hard to replicate, so that way you have this space that you occupy that is just going to be hard for any competitor to come into.